Mr. Sabat, the voice of Vegeta.
That's good to see you.
All right.
See you.
Come on, San Antonio, we can do better than that.
No.
They're here. Oh, you
know. I love couch panels.
I love couch panels because our autograph chairs are very stiff, and so we get to relax. Plus, we stand.
Wait, hold on. I'm so sorry.
No,
I gotta reminisce for a second. Do you remember what show we were at where they not only put couches up on the stage, but they had like fake plants, and it looked like a better
Between the two ferns? That was when we were in a baseball stadium.
That was the one where the dude from what's it called? Anchorman kept jumping up on stage with us.
Dave Keckner.
Yes.
Yeah, he kept
Because
jumping on stage.
the green room was literally right behind the panel room, so everyone that you loved and respected had to listen to your panels while they were eating lunch. So he would always go, "Hey guys, how's it going?" And he'd just come sit up on everyone's panel.
Well, first of all, welcome to San Antonio.
Thank you.
Appreciate you taking your time. Hopefully San Antonio's treating you right, the good weather.
Yeah, that's great. I first came to San Antonio in 1985. I was 85, 86, 87. I was in all-state band and orchestra, so I got to come to TMEA every year.
Is it okay we San Antonio claims Goku as their own?
You can claim me anytime you want. That's fine with me.
That was my first experience of San Antonio.
Yeah,
every year we would come here for All-State.
Were you doing All-State choir?
Yeah.
Okay. What year were you All-State choir? Because you're younger than me.
All 4 years because no one else has deep voices in high school.
Well, I only 3 years. They wouldn't let me audition. I couldn't audition in 9th grade because I was in a different city where they wouldn't let 9th graders audition.
Like, you got a deep voice.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, what years though? What years were we there together?
Probably not.
No, because I was 85, 86, 87.
No, I was later than that. Actually, it was the 4 years beyond that.
4 years behind that, because you were 4 years behind me in college. Also, we went to the same college, but not at the same time.
Yeah.
Right?
Nice. Hey, small world. I mean, look at that. Yeah. Well, as you see, fans are here. They've been lining up since
You guys have been amazing all weekend.
Exactly.
Blowing my mind.
Really good. Line's been long. Loving the fan reception for you guys. I'm gonna start with Sean. Sean.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess it never gets old.
Right?
It never gets old to see the type of love that the character, what you brought to life, to the big and small screen. I mean, can you tell everybody how that experience is?
Well, if anybody knows me well knows I tend to overthink things, and I'm a bit of a existential philosopher. So even when I first started the show, I lay in bed and I'm thinking about the fame of it all. And I remember I walked into a Target at that point and heard my voice across a bunch of TV screens, and I was thinking, little kids' brains are forming, and my waveforms of my voice are going into their heads forever. And I felt shock, fear, and awe at the responsibility of potentially affecting so many kids like that. When I first started, I was like, it was like 2001 or 2 or something, when I started thinking this.
You were like, what sort of profound effect am I having on children? And then you hear, is that all you've got?
Yeah.
Is that all you've got? Like, because your voice was in one of those like inflatable like punching bag
I will not
things.
let you beat me.
Yeah.
I'm gonna win this fight. Yeah. Just over and over, and then I think as when you as an actor, when you look, it's about the show. There's no question. I'm just bringing one of the characters to life, but you wonder, and the producers, not my producers, but other producers like to tell you that it doesn't matter. But you wonder if the performance itself is having any genuine effect. And it's not something I think about a lot, but you wonder only because you're putting a lot of energy into it. And only in the last few years have I come to accept that maybe, when a very strong, big men come up to me and cry their eyes out because they've been through hell and in their life in some way, and somehow my voice is a part of them getting through that, there's no greater gift as an artist, as a human. And it's really just the opportunity to be in that show like that it's still surreal to this day, and I've been doing it 24 years, so it's surreal as hell. And everything I have owed to Dragon Ball. I mean, Chris is one of my best friends, if not my best friend, and everything I have, my girlfriend, my circle of close friends, everything is all because of Dragon Ball.
Nice.
So
I remember yesterday, I don't get to always sign next to Sean, and when we do, it's usually really loud, but I gotta give your convention center credit. The acoustics are amazing. It's not like overly loud. I can actually hear most of what Sean's saying over there, for better or worse.
Sorry.
But I just on that same topic, I saw some dude walk up to you and you're like, hey, I mean, he's this massive dude, probably, works out, has at least worked out once, which is more than I have. And he's like, and you go, you look kind of familiar, dude. Have I met you? He goes, in my dreams.
And I wasn't sure if it was going to go homoerotic at that point, but which is fine. I can respect that. I'm a handsome man, but no. idea, but I just wanted to make a joke. But yeah, he was wonderful,
Yeah.
and that kind of look. I can tell you this. Chris knows that from the get-go. I just go hard. I go big or go home.
Yeah.
I just go hard, and the show demands it. You can't. That's the thing about Dragon Ball, and I notice this talking to other casts from different languages sometimes when I've talked to them. It's special to every single cast. I mean, more than any other show. It's for some reason, I think it's Akira Toriyama's genius and the energy and vibration he put into that, and then how it's propagated, and then how it's gotten to your heads, and then how you guys charge it up more like a big spirit bomb.
Right.
It just keeps going and going and going. And so when you realize that the show demands this. You cannot get attached to the dragon and let go. It will not let you go. It reaches into your soul, and then you're done. And playing Goku is like sticking your fingers into a 100,000-volt socket, and hoping you don't die while you're doing it.
It is a bit of an abusive relationship that we have with the show.
Yeah, it's.
I mean, I've seen the YouTube videos of you guys behind the scenes just giving it your all, and it's like, whoa, how do they even survive those?
You have no choice.
God, it's like, wow. First of all, I hope you approve of the shirt that I'm wearing today.
I do approve of the shirt,
You
yes.
approve. F off.
I don't care. I love that shirt.
Spoiler alert, it is a Vegeta
The Majin shirt,
Vegeta
yeah.
shirt. Yeah.
Yes.
The best form, arguably, of Vegeta in the show.
It's wonderful.
Chris, you were speaking of Vegeta and the character you brought to life. As my friends have gotten older with me, we grew up, Dragon Ball and everything. It's weird to see them how they understand Vegeta more now as they've gotten older versus studying the character versus they were younger. Now they can appreciate it. Do you ever feel that perhaps his character is just misunderstood?
I used to joke that Vegeta was based on somebody who bullied Akira Toriyama in high school or something, because he's so mean to Vegeta in the show. Like, so mean to him that he just never gets a win. But the thing I love about Vegeta is that ultimately, over time, even though he may not win any fights with Goku, except maybe one, but I won't spoil it, maybe, he still wins in the character development category, right?
Yes.
He still wins as far as he won everybody's hearts over, because he was awful.
I do have a fondness for Vegeta these days. I do.
Yeah, Sean and I have talked about this. In fact, when asked what Sean's favorite part of the series is, he's like, it's the Goku Vegeta show. It's the Goku Vegeta relationship. Yeah.
It's the show.
But yeah, he is such a great redemption story.
He is.
And it's amazing to me that Akira Toriyama, I've been told that he's a bit of an agoraphobic dude. He doesn't get out of his house very much. He stays home. It's very rare to see the creator of Dragon Ball outside of his house. And it's very clear to me that he's on the internet, though. He spends a lot of time, because he understood how to treat Yamcha in Dragon Ball Super when he makes him die on home plate again. In his own game. And he understands that the love that people have for Vegeta, or else there's no reason Vegeta should have been in the show. But I think the two of them balance each other out so well, and who knows if that was his original intention or not, but it almost seems like the show is heading in this very yin-yang direction, where they're going to be kind of these equal opposing powers forever, and that's what's going to kind of power the entire universe.
Yeah, yesterday's panels, there were some fans that were asking the other voice actors some questions, and one question that stuck with me, I said, I want to ask Chris and Sean this question, is, do y'all look at memes? Do y'all look at memes and see them and say, oh,
I put up one, made one and put it up. Remember that one where it's the two girls fighting and then the guy or something, and I did Goku and then Yamcha. I made that one. I made that one up. I can't remember what's they're drunk or something, or they got a bong or something. There's two girls fighting and the guys, and it's Goku, Vegeta, Yamcha, and I put it up on Twitter.
You see them. You got to have some appreciation just to see they're memes now. Your characters are memes.
There were memes. I think Vegeta was one of the first memes of all time, and it happened a long time before.
The over 9,000 business.
Yeah, before I figured out what the hell was even going on. People are coming up say over 9,000. I'm like, wow. And say over 9,000. Just do it. Doesn't matter. I'm like, but explain it. And then finally I just gave up and started saying it. Then I figured out what it was. I heard there's some trending audio right now. It's don't interrupt the grill master.
What's that about? Yeah,
it was a scene from Dragon Ball Super where Piccolo's behind the Teppanyaki grill.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's funny. Yeah. did you ever envision this series then becoming into movies and then mainstream movies now and then pop culture? It's so embedded in the fiber
Dude,
of
this
it.
whole thing for me has been, here's what's cracked me up about it. On the one hand, no way. On the other hand, you have the experience of when it happens,
Yeah.
well, duh, but you didn't expect it. It's
Right.
so weird. So, because when they called me for the first movie, I got a call, I think I'm 2 hours behind. I was in California, and Justin Cook called me. He was like, hey, Sean, we're gonna start up a Dragon. This was before Super and everything, and I thought I was done with the show. And I was half asleep, and he said, we're gonna do Dragon Ball. And I was like, oh, shit. It's not that I love Dragon Ball, it's just that I was like, okay, I don't have to scream anymore. And I complain about it a lot, but don't worry, I love it. I do. I complain because I do. I don't want to make people think I don't like it. And I've noticed that a lot of people online, like, look, here's the deal. It is hard. It is painful. But when I see your reactions, and when I'm done doing it and I watch it back, I'm like, yeah! I mean, it's definitely like you rip your shirt off in a wrestling match.
It's like working out.
Yeah.
It's just,
Yeah,
so
so-
I've been told.
So, and then when that movie came out, I was really surprised because I'm like, we're gonna go theatrical release. I'm like, it'll be great, it'll be fine. But I did not know what they had brewing in Japan, And I know pretty much for a fact, back then they said we're gonna turn this into more of a global brand, global phenomenon, and they spruced up their forces in Japan and spruced up the offices in the US, and they're really trying to push this thing. I believe from the get-go, there could be amusement parks, it's got enough rich world to make it into something even bigger than it is, which is amazing.
What do you like about your character? What do you like about Vegeta?
Not too much. I mean, what's there to like about the guy? No, I love Vegeta. He's like.
Well, you got to give the French Vegeta answer.
Oh, we gotta hear this.
That's
now.
funny.
French Vegeta's funny, but
Sean's making reference to, there was a book that was written called The Tao of Dragon Balls. It was
over 9,000 or something by Derek
Yeah.
Padula.
He's kind of a Dragon Ball Z scholar, basically. He's obsessed with Dragon Ball. He's written books about it, and along the way, he has interviewed all these different cast members from all over the world. And so everybody, he asks a similar question: What does Dragon Ball mean?
Like what you asked.
Yeah.
Literally the same question, and all these voice
Give
actors.
long
like,
answers. Like, oh, the things I have done.
Renee and Jose in Mexico, they have these long paragraphs. Mine's like 5 chapters long. Sean's is like the rest of the book.
I give a long answer what it means to me, right?
They get to the French Vegeta, he's like, it was nothing.
And he was like, I made some friends. And so we told Derek, okay, do you want to write French Vegeta and ask him if he wants to add any more? Because we all added lots of paragraphs. So he wrote French Vegeta, and French Vegeta wrote back, no, that is fine. I do. He was so quintessentially French. I adore that man.
It was just a show.
It was a show. I made some friends. Whatever. It was.
Does it ever just stun you guys sometimes to see how Hollywood movies themselves? I was talking to the crowd before y'all came out, saying how you have the directors of The Matrix come out and say, yeah, we kind of borrowed from the Dragon Ball Z fights.
I remember the South Park movie, and I wasn't sure if it was a Dragon Ball reference, but in the South Park movie, in the song, Kyle's mom's a big King Kamehameha bitch.
Yeah.
I thought that was like, you made it! Or something like it was in a song. And I was like, were they saying King Kamehameha? I don't know if they said King or just Kamehameha.
Yeah.
Kyle's mom's, I was something in the lyrics of the song, and I was in the theater going, is that a Dragon Ball?
What about you, Chris, seeing those references?
And that was in 2000 or something,
In other genres.
It's everywhere. I don't even notice it anymore. Like
Wow.
cosplay's not even. Like,
Dude, I saw it on The
weird.
Flash with Grant Gustin, and he's gonna be on a show with us soon. In one episode, he lost his memory on The Flash, which I refer to as the Flizash, because I don't know, I just like the show. And in one of the scenes, I screenshot it and sent it to you. He lost his memory, and his wife goes, "You were a huge Dragon Ball fan." She's trying to remind him of his memory. You love Dragon Ball Z, so the character Flash.
Yeah.
Wow.
And I was like, "Oh my God, screenshot subtitles! Oh my God!" So I put the subtitles on so you can see it, right?
So many like references to Dragon Ball and hip hop and rap music too, which is really cool. You can't like go 15 minutes without.
Oh, I've been to Big Sean's house twice because
That's
of it.
true.
He's a fan of mine, which made me want to cry. I was like, oh my God. that
Don't you
guy's-
call yourself like medium-sized?
I call myself, when in his presence, I refer to myself as Medium Sean, which they all think is funny. And they wanted to call me little, medium or little. I'm like, look, give me a bump. I know I'm not really medium relative to your bigness, Big Sean, but if I could have a bump to medium, that would be great. He thought that was hilarious, and he was great. He was a wonderful host. Wonderful man.
And I got to work with a pop artist too, named John Bellion. I don't know if you guys are familiar with him. He was a huge Dragon Ball fan. He was like, "Come out to New York, I want to meet you." I'm like, okay. And it's just crazy the sort of things that we've been able to do because we've been attached such an amazing show.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Dude, I had a football player, like, right before the pandemic, he called my business manager, he goes, hey, tell Sean I'll fly you guys out to Hawaii, just get in a plane tomorrow. And I'm like, what are we doing while we're there? He goes, no, I got business meetings all day, but I just want to fly you out and do it. I'm like, I can't just randomly get on a plane the next day. I mean, I'm very honored he asked me, but that's a little bit more complicated for a guy like me to get on the plane the next day when not knowing what's going on in
Right,
Hawaii.
exactly.
He's got business meetings. Are we just hanging on the beach and waiting for him to, like, what do we do? I regret not doing it though. I really should have done it. And Big Sean has invited me to concerts with him in Las Vegas twice, and I couldn't make it because of commitments. And I invited him to the last two premieres, and he couldn't make it because of commitments. But they all want to come. Do you know one of our premieres, Ed Asner came? He was
Ed
on
Asner
the
came?
Yeah, I think he came, or he was on the list to come and didn't come. Because I remember reading the list, and I'm like, Ed Asner. Apparently, he liked at the time. He's passed, I believe, right? I think he's deceased now. But I love Ed Asner, and he likes to be at premieres of all the new cool stuff. Apparently, that's what I'd heard. But I was
Is that
tripping.
Dragon Ball Z thing?
Yeah, Dragon Ball Z premiere. He wanted
At
to
the
go.
last Dragon Ball premiere, I was
Pretty sure.
sitting next to Jay Farrow, which
Yeah.
is really crazy.
So we did some photos with him on the red carpet. Jay Farrell was there.
Nice. Well, everybody, I'm going to give them one more story. So if you want to start lining up for questions, now's your chance. So I'll give you a little few seconds here. So I have a story to share with you guys. So
Yeah, share the story.
I split time between San Antonio and New York City. Oh, you got some coffee here? Yep.
Thank you guys. This is the when the questions start, the coffee has to come. Yeah, that's when it gets complicated.
So I split time between New York City and San Antonio. New York City, there is a gym there. Oh yeah. That they play on loop, Dragon Ball, on loop, not movies. Episodes.
Okay, so Chris and I are not terribly fit people, and I have come up with this idea called the circle of muscles. And the circle of muscles is this. My doctor has made it clear that I have medical reasons to work out, and I am not good at working out. And I have started for a minute, and then the rain hit, and then I stopped. But I'm going to start again. But I noticed that what's happened is I do the voice for years, and then it makes a bunch of guys go get really muscly, and then they come to my table and shame me into not having muscles by simply having muscles, and then it makes me want to go work out. And so what I'm going to do, hopefully, if I don't procrastinate, is I'm going to work out and chronicle it, and then I'm going to post it, and I'm going to call it the circle of muscles, because like I scream, you get big muscles, you come shame me, I get big muscles.
There you go.
And that's the plan, circle of muscles. So Chris, you got to get in the circle of muscles.
Apparently, all I'm supposed to do is yell at myself, and I'm supposed to work out. That's how it works.
That's it.
Everyone tells me that's how they do it. I'm like, I've tried yelling at myself. That doesn't work. This makes me tired.
All right, let's get it going. What's your name and your question?
My name is Nick. Kind of got a two-part question. First one is just what, I know this is probably something you guys get all the time at Comic Cons, but for smaller areas that aren't like big with, you know, anime voice over stuff, like how do you guys like recommend like getting started?
Well, how do you start voiceover just at the ground floor?
Yeah.
Well, depending on your voice and your skill set, it doesn't always have to be that way. My first audition was Dragon Ball. Wow, ever. Wow, I got so lucky. I didn't know him. He just called me, hey, my name is Chris Seven, I'm working on Dragon Ball. And everyone who knows Chris does an impression of his voice, and he's very gracious about letting us do it. His own daughters do an impression of it, so. But yeah, I didn't know him. And so it depends on a lot of things. It's kind of a crapshoot, but if you want to get started, you know, a lot of voice actors in the Dallas-Fort Worth area teach voice acting classes, having some gear. And since the pandemic, a lot of recordings remote now, so if you have a good home studio and you know how to use it, and you want to help them cut you together a demo, then you send that to an agent, and then if they start sending you work, you audition from home, and then you go to the gig, and then you realize how little money you're going to make, and then you think twice about your career choices, and then 20 years later you have a room full of people, and you're glad you did what you did. So that's how it went for me anyway.
I would also add to that, wherever you are, figure out what it is, why it is that you want to be a voice actor.
Yeah.
Figure out what it is that's motivating
Yes.
you. Is it because you like anime, or is it because people have told you have a nice voice, or it's because you like microphones, you like electronic equipment, which was the case for me. I grew up just playing with anything that could make sounds. I tried to make sounds with when I was younger, and I just loved it. And no matter where you are, there's got to be somebody, unless you're just in a micro town. There's got to be somebody working in some sort of production. I don't know what sort of production is done here, like in San Antonio, but I'm sure there's a lot of films, there's commercial stuff here. Try to find a community, be involved in something, even intern at a place where production is done, at a TV station or a radio station, just to kind of feel out the industry, because there's so many jobs I mean, I'm not trying to talk you out of being a voice actor. I think always keep that in the back of your mind. You train yourself up, learn how to speak on a microphone so your first audition is good, and you're not freaking out with your headphones on the first time they ever put headphones on you because you've never done it before. Find all the other things that you can do in town that are interesting and see what else is out there too, because you want to make voice acting like the center of the dartboard, but throw as many darts as you possibly can, right?
Yeah.
Thank you so much. Good question. All right, up next.